Christopher Nolan.
It's gone, I think.
I think and all, just culturally, a lot of people are ripping him off. His marketing ideas of like reveal as little as possible to get the moving going experience back is his excuse.
As he'd say,
Not for...
Well, like, it was more the fact that back in the 70s, 60s and 80s, there wasn't the internet.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, it was natural that, movies were kept a bit secretive because, just by the nature of the world back then.
Yeah.
I don't think it does it any favours, really. No. Because you get someone like J.J. Abrams who does something similar.
That's what I was going to just discuss. Yeah. He basically just takes that to like a more extreme level.
Yeah.
Well, not even in the marketing. There's more known about his marketing. Like people guessed that Khan was going to be in.
Well, that's the most obvious.
That's the most obvious example.
But he tried to keep it a secret, and when it happens in the film, you're a bit like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like a lot of his elements have been taken into mass culture.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, like the idea of revealing as little as possible is quite a big thing now.
I mean, I remember like pretty much the year after Inception came out, within the year, so many adverts and trailers and posters kind of recreated that Inception look. Like a grayscale city block landscape with red bold lettering, that kind of stuff. It just, Yeah,
basically people trying to get this whole mystery back, but I think it's pointless. Like, it might be good for making more money, but he can't really argue it on these artistic grounds he's trying to argue on.
Yeah, because ultimately at the end of the day, the way a film is released, it should disappear. Yeah. It should be talking about the film. Like a good example, like it's in music, but with Radiohead in Rainbows, the way that was released and the pay whatever you want, that was hugely innovative at the time. But now all people talk about is the music. Yeah. That's all they talk about. It doesn't matter how it was released, it's the music. And I think, in X amount of years' time, people are just going to see a confused mess of a film like Star Trek Into Darkness and not, there's going to be a mystery and the mystery is revealed and, that kind of stuff.
I also think the way he makes films, almost to a formula, is becoming increasingly unpopular. So his formula will be, set something up, like Memento, it's in backwards, you only really realise what's happening about 20 minutes in. Yeah. And like Inception, you realise he has like a cold opening where you're meant to think it's real, and then when he knocks back like that in the water, then it's a dream.
It's a dream, man.
His basic idea will be to set up as much mystery as possible, slowly revealing it through the film.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works. I think in Inception, you've still got an emotional hook.
That is true, actually.
You've got the idea of Leonardo DiCaprio, who's really good in the film.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Trying to get back his wife. That's still like a hook.
It's a man dealing with the loss of his wife.
It's something that you can latch onto. In Prestige, it's about professional rivalry and show business.
Yeah.
So basically, the Prestige probably is his most perfect film because it marries the.
That's true.
Like the technique he's using with the actual subject matter.
It's enjoyable for mass audiences. Yeah. But you can get a lot out of it if you look at it a bit deeper. Yeah. I think it's the right balance.
Yeah. But his films are so made by that sort of idea of the technique is almost the story in a way.
Yeah.
But it works best in Prestige because it's commenting on this. Like sometimes it doesn't work. Like
I personally think in Inception it kind of doesn't really. I
don't think the structure works, but I think there's still a hook for you to latch onto.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
With Dark Knight Rises, for example, where it's like, who is Bane? The payoff is so terrible.
Oh yeah,
it's just a sidekick. It doesn't work.
It doesn't. And I've got a feeling with Interstellar's going to be a little bit like that.
Yeah, I hear that it's pretty much. I hear that the problem with the film. Again, we're only speculating on other reviews.
We've not seen the film yet.
Is that like it explains everything about 5 times? It's constantly like, this is how a wormhole works, and then like 10 minutes later, this is how a wormhole works.
God.
Which is a problem with a lot of sci-fi that doesn't just go in a Stanley Kubrick direction of showing and then letting people research.
Yeah. I mean, the whole idea of science fiction is obviously to present science that's currently not correct, but elaborating on it, what could it be like, Yeah. And I think, that like the idea of a film about wormholes.
Yeah.
Great stuff,
I think that what they should do is not even...
So I got a feeling he's going for an experience film, like Gravity.
Yeah.
Where, Gravity, it's in the cinema, it's a great experience, you're on this ride and stuff, but, in the actual film itself, Gravity's a bit weak.
It is a weak film.
Yeah, I think the script's not very good.
No.
It either should have been a silent film or an all-out silly action blockbuster.
Yeah, but
Gravity's a whole other.
Gravity's a whole massive mess of things.
We do like films, by the way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I like most of Chris Nolan's films.
I like most of Christopher Nolan's films. Yeah.
But yeah, I just think the only problem though is Gravity is 90 minutes. Interstellar's 3 hours. To get an experience of that length is much more difficult.
I need to bring my pillow with me tomorrow. I think.
Yeah.
Sit down, relax, get my sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Movies are becoming endurance tests now.
Yeah. They should have I think they should bring intermissions back.
I think that. Yeah, I think that.
It makes more financial sense because you can sell popcorn.
Exactly, yeah. Like, wow, yeah, I think that. Like, instead of making Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows like 2.5 hour films, condense it into like a 3.5 hour film and do an intermission in the middle.
Do you know what I find funny? Like a lot of 70s films used to get told to make them 90 minutes so they could have more showings.
Oh yeah.
For like the actual
cinema.
Not even the cinema. The cinema won't gain that much more because if it's longer they can sell more food.
Oh yeah.
It's more for the makers of the film because then it's more tickets.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was people point to On Her Majesty's Secret Service failing as a film because it was like 2.5 hours long as opposed to the standard 2 hours. It's not a very good film.
But yeah, he's sort of bringing Inception is like nearly 2.5 hours in it. Dark Knight Rises is 2.5 hours.
It's nearly 3 hours.
Almost all of his films, apart from Memento, and I think Insomnia is only
Prestige is a decent length.
Isn't it 2 hours again?
Prestige is about 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's a decent length.
Yeah, I think he's getting to the point where he's like a lot of filmmakers, like our boy Peter Jackson, where they'll have like a huge success. Lord of the Rings for him, Dark Knight for Nolan, and it's like, well, I can do anything now.
Yes.
Which pretty much kills any kind of like...
But at least Nolan taken advantage of his position. You know, PJ's just made Lovely Bones. Oh,
Yeah.
He did King Kong.
Yeah.
He did King Kong, he did Lovely Bones, and now he's gone back to Middle-earth. I actually would be interested to see what he's going to do next after The Hobbit. Where could he go from there?
Yeah. How much more can he adopt?
Yeah.
Maybe he'll retire.
Maybe.
He'll leave his T-boy in the lurch.
His T-boy.
Yeah, so Christopher Nolan, I just think people are sick of this kind of...
it's the aesthetic.
These construction films where you're trying to watch him just to work them out.
Yeah.
His films are better than a lot of his imitators because they have some kind of... Well, he tries to have an emotional hook to them.
Yeah. See, I remember when Inception first came out, people were like, oh man, the film was really hard to keep up with, I had to watch it a second time.
It's not hard at all.
No, I watched it once and I was like, okay, got it.
Yeah.
My thing is, I don't like the aesthetic of the way he constructs his exposition scenes, which is very, very specific. You know, he'll do like 360 cameras spinning around the characters. They're talking rapidly. The music's going bum 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 bum. It's intercutting with all this action scene. Like, oh my god, we gotta get rid of a bam bum 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 bum. And it shows some SWAT teams like running down a corridor bum 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 bum. And then it's showing like another character talking. It's going 360. You cut back to Batman and Gordon talking, going around in the circle, and it's trying to make the impression that there's more going on than there actually is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's terribly exciting.
No, I think people are sick of that. I think that his approach to endings, his ambiguity.
I really like the ending of Inception.
Yeah.
It's a nice little footnote.
Inception is perfect, where it wobbles a little bit and you're meant to think, well, Dark Knight Rises pushing it too far.
Fuck that film.
Because then it's like, doesn't Dark Knight Rises just think like, how do we end it? Well, Inception went well.
Well, it's like Alfred's like, Master Wayne, I imagine you one day to be sitting in a nice restaurant. I'm on holiday. You'll be sitting there across from me with a nice girl. We'll nod heads. I'll go back to my cup of tea. And then it happens at the end. It's so painfully obvious. It's like, fucking hell.
Yeah, it is really just dreadful, the ending. But doesn't it just feel like he's like going over old ground?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, like, well, ambiguity word to me once.
I'll do it again.
And it's like, his films are no fun.
Well,
his Dark Knight films, his films are going towards being no fun.
Yeah.
Each one seems to be more morose than the last.
I think it's for the lack of diversity. There's a lot has been said about the female characters in Christopher Nolan's films and the lack of sex.
Oh yeah, characters.
Characters. Characters.
I thought I didn't even notice there were women in them.
No.
I just thought that was like background noise. You know, like you hear a song and some like the bass just fades in the background sometimes. I thought it was like that.
Well, I think the only strong female character in his films are like I think Carrie-Anne Moss from Memento.
She's really good.
She's good.
Yeah.
I think Anna Hathaway is disappointing as Catwoman. She doesn't have a lot to do.
Well, they basically just play wives to be dead.
Martyrs.
Yeah.
Or like, what's it called? She's called Maggie Gyllenhaal and Katie Holmes in Batman Begins, who plays Rachel Dawes. You know, she's a bit of a wet fish, not much to her. She's only there to be a martyr for Batman to save. Not much to her. I mean, she's like, I'm a lawyer. I'm a go-getter lawyer. But then she, loses all her spark.
Oh yeah, like here's a good example. Try and think of one way to describe her character that doesn't involve her relationship to Batman or her job.
So how many? She's
just anything.
Determined.
You see, that's like it.
She's. No, she's not feisty. Caring? I don't know, that's all I've got, man. Okay, how about Catwoman?
Catwoman. Oh.
In Dark Knight Rises. Without her profession, her look, or a relationship to Batman and...
if I was to describe her... feisty?
Caring?
I don't know, she's sort of, I don't know, meh.
She's just kind of there.
Well, a lot of his characters though, like, he seems to make a really macho kind of world, but like, everyone's just, all the women are there just to be like, to be rescued essentially, Like, they're either there to betray the men, or to be rescued.
It's a bit, it's sexless as well.
Yeah.
The characters act like cold, inhuman robots. Not in an interesting Stanley Kubrick kind of way. They're just kind of a bit, cold.
Yeah.
Not much to them.
Yeah. As I say, I just don't know. But yeah, I think that's a lot of things have just gone against him now. His films, like, people are sick of joyless exercises.
Yeah.
In the mainstream, like Guardians of the Galaxy is fun and a success.
Fun, yes.
Lego movie. Think of the big films of this year: Lego Movie, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
they're all fun.
Fun movies.
Fun, and then you've got and the ones that are adult are like Gone Girl, which was huge. I think it's up to 300 million now.
Oh, good.
On a budget of like 60, massive success. Are actually aimed at adults.
Adult dramas.
Adult dramas.
Oh my god. No thought I'd see one of them again.
And thrillers as well, rather than like
maybe the tide is turning a bit.
Yeah. But just so many things are going against him now. How do you think he's going to? Do you think Interstellar will be a financial failure? Not as in like a flop, as in like. I think it'll make somewhere around 500 million.
I think it's going to be a disappointment.
Yeah.
Financially, I think it's definitely a break even. I think 500 million's reasonable. But you see, a lot of people don't really understand the concept
of Interstellar.
Yeah, we talked about what film was it we were talking about, and like people didn't really understand the basic idea of it, and I think people maybe be like, oh, that looks a bit.
I
weird.
think again it's the fact that there's not really been much released until like this week.
Yeah.
I know that the premise is basically that the Earth is dying, so they have to go into another Earth. They have to go possibly save the Earth.
I think they go. So Matthew McConaughey discovers a black hole and is searching the universe for a new home for Earth and humans to live on because the Earth is dying. I think.
Yeah, that seems to be the general idea given by what little there is to go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no one really I don't. Again, like, I think people have gone against that kind of not really knowing much, or these vague concepts.
Yeah.
It's like, you could go see that, but meh.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you have
it's because movies, blockbusters anyway, are trying to find ways of getting audiences out of the house, away from the TV, You got stuff like HBO and Game of Thrones, and you've got video games, you've got music, you've got all these ways of receiving media. And movies have got to find, blockbusters anyway, have got to find a way of drawing the audience back to the cinema. You know, it used to be back in the 50s, you know, come to the cinema because you can see films in colour, full Technicolor on 70 million millimetre cameras, and you know, that was the hook. Or like in the 50s as well, there was 3D movies, and you know, recently with 3D movies, you know, cinemas are always trying to find a way of bringing the audience back. Yeah. And I guess having like a mystery, like, ooh, that looks intriguing. Ooh, I might go see that. That looks interesting. Word with Gone Girl. Gone Girl, I think it was obviously a popular book, but the advertisement was good as well. It was enough to kind of draw you into it.
I think as well, what was good with that was because that film was big on later weeks, which almost films never are. It made 60 million on its first weekend. Yeah. And then it just built as well.
Positive word of mouth.
Positive. I think that, and the fact it was really like, there were loads and loads of media articles about it, discussion. Almost to the point where you're like, oh, I've got to be part of the debate.
Yeah, I've got to get in on this.
There's loads of, I've not seen it yet, but in there loads of stuff about it might be misogynist.
Yeah, but there's all sorts of interesting questions. It depends on... Yeah. It's all about point of view and perspective, and it's up to you to decide what you think of it. Because, you know, you could see it as being misogynist, you know, like, essentially with this woman... Well, I'll say anything, actually, because it spoiled the film. Because you just got to talk to me after. Yeah, but
I think that films should go back to either being a fun time for kids.
For blockbusters?
Yeah. For kids it should be a fun time, and then for adults it should be something that causes a debate. Yeah. Thereby making people want to see. That seems to be both the best financial option and artistic option.
Yeah. Cut down on these goddamn superhero movies.
You look at some of the big films from like the last couple decade or so, and like you've got all this crap that no one remembers. Like, I don't know, Spider-Man 3, we're going to make it bigger. And then you've got, like, I don't know, like, No Country for Old Men was huge. That because it started a debate on, like, what the merits of the film were. Stuff like that. If you want, like, a big hit, like, that's going to build a crew, you need that. And for kids, you want to... That's just my take on modern blockbusters. What do you think?
What's yours?
Exactly. So, let's sum up Christopher Nolan, then.
Interesting filmmaker. He has a lot of good ideas, lots of good moxie. I think his execution is questionable. His characters are cold, soulless and sexless. Yeah. But his ambition is to be applauded in an age of pre-packaged, instantly recognisable blockbusters.
And now let's take down Dark Knight Rises.